Welcome to Joy Connection, a time where we join in conversation to connect you with joy. I look forward to our conversation today. We'll be right back. I'm so excited to be joined today by my guest and my friend, Channon Oyeniran. And who is this remarkable woman? Well, Channon, you are an author, a historian, a speaker. You are a woman who has been trying to eradicate racism through educating people, through the knowledge of the great things that Black people have contributed to society. And not only through that, but through your children's storybooks. I know that you have 2 out in a planned series of 5. You are a busy woman. And I also remember that you had a podcast that was Black to Canada. So I know it's on pause, but I know that it has given information, it has encouraged, it has helped people to understand their own roots, as you have shared real knowledge, history that you have dug deep to find. And so I'm just excited about being able to have you in my presence because I know that I have learned a lot from you and I know that our viewers will learn a lot from you. So thank you for coming today, Channon.
Thank you so much, Shireen, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. It's been a long time coming.
I know, right? We have tried to book this over and over.
And, life has gotten busy and different things have happened. So I'm really happy to be here and to chat with you.
Well, I know that nothing happens before its time.
Yes.
And as a historian,
yes.
I know that time means a lot to you.
Yes.
So how can you go back in time and just let us know how it is that you even got involved in loving Black history so much and finding the ways that you do to share it with others?
Right. Oh, so thinking back and going back in time, I think kind of my journey started, I was born in Scarborough, raised here until I was 8 years old, and we moved to the Durham region. So this was back in the early 90s.
Yes.
The Durham region is a totally different place than it was
Right.
back then. There weren't a lot of people that looked like you and I. So I started at a new school, and I remember one recess, there was this white boy, and he called me a Black B word. And I remember being 8 years old, and I remember thinking, okay, I know the B word is wrong, but my mind was just like, why the Black? Why are you bringing that into it, right? So that was kind of a defining moment for me that stayed with me, and I remember asking myself a lot of questions about that experience. Then just growing up in elementary school and going throughout the grades, I really leaned towards history and English and geography, and I love those subjects, math and science. Not my strong suits at all, and really just, leaning into those subjects. And another kind of pivotal moment that has stayed with me is when I was in grade 8. The Durham District School Board had a program called Students Together Against Racism.
Okay.
Camp. So STAR camp for short. And I remember being selected to go to this overnight camp with some other delegates from other elementary schools and just learning about what racism was. How can we fight it? How can we bring back the tools that we learned from the camp to our own schools to help fight racism? So that was a wonderful experience for me, and that has always stayed with me and has kind of shaped who I am today and even my work that I do now as a program manager in diversity, equity, and inclusion. So those are kind of 2 defining moments. Then fast forward to high school, again, history, English, top of my, doing my thing. And I remember getting to grade, 11, 12 and okay, what am I going to do for university? What do I want to go into? And, as racialized people, sometimes we always tell our kids, go, be a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer or something where you can, has this prestige and where you can make, a good living. And I remember, applying for the University of Toronto and other schools, but U of T was my top, and wanting to go there to do history. And I remember telling
history has been in your DNA.
It's been there. It's been there. And telling my friends, and they're like, history, how are you gonna make a living with that? And I'm like, nope, I know what's in my heart. I know what, there was just something pulling me. So I double majored in Caribbean Studies and History at the University of Toronto and got my honors bachelor degree, and said to myself, now we're fast forward to 2009, 2010, like what can I do next? I want to keep learning more. I want to be the best at this. I want to know everything. And applying to do my master's at the University of Hull in the UK.
Wow.
Because now we kind of see a lot of Black Studies programs in Canada. Back then in 2009, 2010, there weren't a lot.
Yes.
So I said, what better place to go to than the UK, who were the leaders in taking our people, right, and taking them from the continent of Africa. What better place to go learn and understand? So went to the UK, did my master's, got my master's in slavery studies, met my husband there as well. That's a little side story, but, got my master's degree and came back and really just started on this journey of trying to be involved in my community and try to spread our heritage and our culture and who we are and how strong we are and our resilience and our strength and our courage, and just being proud of that and wanting to share that with everyone, especially since it's not really in our schools.
Yes.
So wanting to share that, which has led me to the Black to Canada podcast.
Black to Canada podcast.
To
writing books.
Books.
You were the VP of the Ontario Black History Society.
I was for 6 years. And being involved in them and kind of starting my speaking career. And that was such an honor to be a part of that organization. And just doing all I could, right? So writing my children's chapter book featuring my 9-year-old son, Aro, as the main character.
Would he have ever thought that he'd already be famous?
I don't know, but he's taking it in stride and he loves it. I was at an event signing some books. He's like, oh, do I need to sign it too? And I'm like, oh, you can.
Because you are the star.
You are the star, so you definitely can sign your name. So he's loving it. Yeah.
I think it's really amazing how God uses just normal everyday experiences that shouldn't be normal. Like, it was out of a painful experience that you were just like, why was I even called that? And then again, that stuck with you, and your love for history. I know you said, math, science. Well, math, science, geography, history, none of those were for me.
Oh, yes.
But the very fact that God has already implanted in you all of the interest, the passion, the skill, the desire, but it came from a moment in time, but God already knew what he was doing. And then now here you are, he took you across the nation to a different place, met your husband. Now you've started your family. Your family's involved in your storytelling. Like everything that you're doing has a purpose. God had a plan, and you actually love what you're doing.
Oh, I love it.
So what would you say to people about, people thought history, what can you do with history? But what would you say to people about how it is that they need to pay attention to all these little things that we might not even think are big things, but they change the world. You are changing the world in your small circle.
Thank you.
The stories that you're telling, the love that you have for history that we need to know. And it excites me to think of what God's going to do through storybooks, through your speaking, whatever it is. But you do it with joy. And I love listening to you share and what it is you put out there. But what would you say to people in following their passions? And
I mean, I tell the young people at my church all the time, Mike, do what you love. Whatever is in your heart, do it. Don't worry about how much money it will make you or, who's saying what, just do it, right? Especially those entering into kind of high school, university, do what you love, because at the end of the day, you're going to spend the rest of your life, a good majority of your time, right, in this profession, in this career, and you want to make sure that you love it. And as well, I believe, as you mentioned, God has placed something within us, right, that pulls us. And I tell them to listen to that. God will work it out. Everyone, as I said, people are like, well, how can you make money, this, that, and the sort? How can you live? And I get to tell about my history. I get to go speak sometimes for organizations for an hour, and I get to share my history and our story and who we are. And I love it. I really, really love it. So follow your heart. follow that tugging and that the Holy Spirit, right,
Yeah.
is placing something within you and to follow that, because it always works out and it's always for his good.
And I'm thinking about the fact that a lot of times when Black history is told, it's taken from a negative.
Right.
And even when you watch movies about Black people and how the choices they make and how their lives are, especially in the secular world,
Right.
they're always about things that are not necessarily positive. But you are doing history in order to empower, in order to educate. What is it that gives you the most joy about that?
Oh, I think you said it. I think I know that I'm walking in what God has called me to do. I know that I'm sharing our history in all aspects, right? The good, the bad, the ugly, but that message that we're resilient and courageous and we've overcome and we will continue to overcome. And right, just sharing that message and giving us a powerful voice, because as you said, whenever we're depicted or seen, it's not always in a good and positive light. So I want to change that narrative, right? That we've come through so much and we continue to do so much, and we're a special, unique people. And I want people to know that. And I want our people to be proud of who we are and where we've come from and what we've been through. So that's what kind of brings me joy, and just, again, knowing that I'm walking in what God has called me to do.
What is something that you hold dear to going, I didn't know this, but in researching this and finding this out, wow.
Oh, wow. Oh, let me think back in I've learned a lot. Just some of the stories even of Black people in Canada.
Yes.
Blows my mind. Like, I always tell people as well, it took me till my third year at the University of Toronto to take an African Canadian history course.
Yes.
And my mind was blown. I was like, all this history, why weren't we taught this? Why am I just hearing about this? Right? Right. I'm 20, 21, and it shouldn't be, right?
Yes.
So just the stories and our presence here in this country and what we had to overcome and how we helped to build this country. So I don't think there's one specific story, but just all of those ones, learning about Africville in Nova Scotia, or Hogan's Alley, a historical Black neighborhood in Vancouver.
Oh, wow. See, that's something I'm just learning about.
And just that our presence as Black people touches every province, even the territories.
Yeah.
Yukon, Northwest Territories, Black people coming up to the gold rush.
Even though we don't like the cold.
Even though we don't like the cold, we came and we overcame and we set roots and we did what we had to do, right? So we've literally touched every part of this nation, and I just want those stories to get out there. So hence the reason, for the book series and the podcasts and just everything I do to try and get our story, specifically here in Canada, right? I know we lean a lot on the United States.
But we have a history.
We have over
a story.
400 years history, so I want people to know about that. Yeah.
What has been the most joy-giving thing in watching your children become part of what it is that you are doing?
Oh, just that they know that they can be like the main characters. Like my youngest, Corday, he's 6. He's like, when's my series? When you're going to write my series? I'm like, let me finish Ara's and then I'll write. And I want to normalize that for them, that they can see themselves as the main character, see themselves on the cover, and just carrying them along. I also host a Black History Month conference called the Looking Back into the Future conference. And Ara's 9 now. I'm entering my 11th year of that conference in February of 2026. And he's been with me every step of the way. Yeah. I was pregnant with him for my first conference all the way back in 2016. 2016, he was in my belly, right? So he's come along with me. Corday, my youngest, has come along with me. So just that they're a part of it and they know how important their history is brings me joy, so that they'll be grounded in who they are. Yeah.
I think that sometimes we have no idea what the future holds. But if we're just dreaming and taking one day at a time and just trying to encourage our children to understand the way I'm living is a walk of faith.
Right.
What would you say is the lesson that they've learned in their faith journey, in watching you do something that is just historical,
Right.
and something that is just a passion and an interest, but it's also you're living out purpose.
Right.
What would you say are the things that you are teaching them that they are grabbing a hold of?
I think we're teaching them, my husband and I, that, once you're passionate about something, to go after it. And as they get older, we'll slowly start to tell them, right? Like I'll tell them all these stories about, what I kind of went through in terms of that grade 3 experience and that kind of thing. But I think the main thing is to teach them, when you're passionate about something, go after it, and God will be with you, and that He's placed it within you. I think those are the most important things. And they see mommy doing different things. I'm working on my PhD dissertation now, and I'm always writing or on the computer. So I think we're teaching them, right? Like they know me as like mommy Black history, like they know that. So just them seeing that and understanding that that's part of who I am and what God has placed in me. I think those are some of the lessons that we're passing along. And as they get older, we'll, impart a little bit more and the importance of it.
What, tell our audience, in case there are people that don't know, what are the 2 books that you've written about, and what is this whole series? Because there are 3 more to come.
3 more to come, right? So the Time Travel Adventures of Ara.
Yes.
As you mentioned, a 5-part series. I released book 1 in May of 2022, and that is titled The Time Travel Adventures of Ara, Harriet Tubman and the Underground Railroad.
Okay.
So Harriet Tubman, I'm sure we all know through the Underground Railroad, but I wanted to really highlight that she lived in St. Catharines, Ontario for 10 years.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know that. They just thought maybe she came back and forth, but she actually settled and kind of set roots in St. Catharines. So I wanted to highlight that. So my son, Ara, travels back to 1860 St. Catharines and meets Harriet Tubman and learns about her life and goes on an adventure with her, and fun intro, and has a magical bracelet and all the things. I don't want to give it away.
Right. You want people to buy the book
I want
and
people
read
to buy
it.
the book and read it and learn and, enjoy it. And then book 2, I just released at the end of September of this year. Again, I mentioned I'm doing my PhD, so this dissertation has been, first and foremost, but released book 2, and it's about William Peyton Hubbard. He's the Black historical figure of book 2.
Yeah.
And Ara travels back to 1907 Toronto
Yes.
and meets the first Black acting mayor for the city of Toronto and the first Black councilman for the city of Toronto. So he travels back, he meets William Peyton Hubbard, he goes on, again, an adventure and learns about his life and what life was like for Black people in the early 20th century. Book 3 will be based in Nova Scotia.
Okay, so you're going to different places, and he's traveling.
Book 4 will be based in Jamaica. So my family's from Jamaica. So Ara's not only learning about Black history in locally across Canada, but his heritage and culture. Book 5 will be based in Nigeria, where my husband
Where your husband's from.
Yeah, so it all
I just love it.
Right.
I love how it is that it's history, but story, so that from the youngest to the oldest, people can learn something and internalize it and see where it is that we have come from as a people, and that we're bringing our children along.
Yes.
So in these, last few moments, what message would you like to share with our listeners about adventure? Because your life has been an adventure that God has set you on. You're writing your PhD. I'm not sure what the topic is, but you can share that as well. But what would you like to share with our listeners about living life on purpose, about adventure, about whatever you would like. And I also want you to tell them where they can find you, because I want them to buy your books. I want them to follow you, to think about the next conference coming up of Black History in February, all of those kind of things.
Okay, so let me start first with, PhD, I'm based, at Queen's University. My topic looks at the Black women in the Durham region.
Oh, wow.
And how we connect online and create friendships and create a sense of belonging, but digitally.
Yes, so Black Queens of Durham.
So Black Queens of Durham is actually my case study.
Yes.
I've interviewed members from there, done my focus group. So I'm using that group as my example of how Black women connect and create those bonds and continue on in a digital space, especially after COVID.
Yes.
So looking at that. So that's the PhD. So writing my dissertation, and by the grace of God, I will defend my dissertation next year. Your last, where people can find me, and I think you asked something else.
Just what's one last thing you would want to leave them?
I think just to trust God. He has our best interest at heart, and to do what is in your heart and what the Holy Spirit has placed within you, and don't worry about the rest.
Yeah.
He always works everything out.
That's where we find joy, in trusting God.
In trusting Him, and He works everything out. And the journey has been amazing. Like, I could never have imagined. I know He has more planned, but I could have never imagined that I'd be
going to the UK, meeting the love of your life, having 2 children that you put in a storybook.
Writing a book, right? Like, I never thought of these things, but I know it's because I trusted God, and I continue to trust Him and place my life in His hands. So trust God, do what's in your heart. That's, I think, what I would leave with people and with those
And where
watching.
can they find you?
Oh, on Instagram. So I have a couple of handles.
Yes.
So at Channon Oyeniran.
Yeah.
Channon. I spell my name with a C. My mom wanted to be unique. And then at Looking Back Into, and that handle speaks really about my conference, my Black History Month conference. And then at the Time Travel Adventures of Ara, where you can find info about the books and what's coming up and book signings and all of that stuff. And then on LinkedIn, Channon Oyeniran. And I don't know if anyone uses Facebook anymore, but
I do.
I do too. Channon Oyeniran as well. And my website, oyeseducation.org/Channon.
A lot of places to find Channon. So you can't say, I can't find Channon.
Right.
You will be able to find Channon if you look for her for education, for her books, for her speaking, to find out what is next. Yes. Thank you so much for having this conversation with me. It has been a joy to learn about how you are impacting our lives by teaching us, making us aware, and just what's going on in yours and the next generation to come. So thank you, Channon, for this time together. I look forward to you listening and letting me know what you think about the joy connection that we've made today. Thank you for this time, and come back to hear more on Joy Connection.